Today we are going to do an evening for Glam, and this look is so pretty. Stay tuned for a detailed tutorial. Make sure to take some notes and make sure to subscribe whilst you're here. This look is dear to my heart as it was my birthday makeup look, so let's get straight into it. So first things first, we are going to start with a base or the lips. This is the Too Faced Lips Injection. This is one of my favorite lip glosses just to prep my face, my lips, whatever. And then we're going into the brows. I like to not really do my brows, but I normally go in with this Ellie brow gel. It kind of just helps my brow to stay calm. My brows here are already threaded, so I go in with my finger after I've put the product in and I just tap and brush. I kind of do this like maybe twice. You don't want to overdo it because it can look very, very weird and crazy and all like the white stuff coming onto your face. So I go in with my pencil. This is the Collection eyebrow pencil. And I like to just kind of do like brush strokes, should I say, or pencil strokes. You don't want to just start shading in because it will start to look really weird. And then at the start of my brow or at the entrance of my brow, I like to do really, really tiny strokes and use my middle finger to push it up to create that like 3D effect you see. And then I go in with a tiny bit of concealer just to clean up my brow. Now remember, this is not coverage, we're just cleaning up. So you don't need a lot of concealer. I think at first I used to use a lot of concealer, but you really don't. You want to take your time with your brow. If you're doing your brow and someone's talking, tell them to shut up respectfully, because it takes work to do your brows. I don't normally do my brows because they're always threaded, but if you are doing your brows, make sure that they look good. Do the same on the other side. And now we are going to cover the lid or conceal the lid. So this is when I'm going in with the same Too Faced concealer that I use. This is in the shade Mocha, I believe. And you want to take a eyebrow concealing brush or blending brush, and you want to, or a concealing blending brush, whatever it's called. This is from Real Techniques. Is in a pack, so you can get it on Amazon. I'll put all the product lists in the description box below. And I also set the concealer on my eyelid. I just use the Huda Beauty in Cinnamon, something a bit closer to my shade than normal baking powder or setting powder, and it looks good. Look at the difference. It just takes the shine away. And then I just kind of continue. I use that on my brows as well because my brows can get really shiny, like my T-zone gets really, really shiny. And then I go in with that same brush just to like dab some extras off. Now we're going to start on the eye. Normally I don't do my eye, I do my eye after, but because I'm doing a really heavy eye look, I just thought, okay, let me do the eye first. So I go in with a base shade like a brown just to get the ashiness from the Huda Beauty setting powder away. And I just do this in swirls or in rounds. So here I'm using my brown. This is like just my normal brown face powder, something a bit darker than the concealer that I use. Yeah. And then I'm going in with this concealer first. We have to prep the base for our smoky eye that we're going to be doing. And you want to be really intricate with this because if it's too big or too small, it can definitely, you can tell the difference in the eyeshadow look basically. So I do this with a flat brush, a flat eye brush on both eyes. And I go in, as you can see, I'm bringing the camera close so you lot can see what I'm really doing here. I go in with intricate details, and I use the same blending brush that I used before. And then I just tap lightly. Guys, with makeup, you want to be very light. I know some of us go to the gym and be pumping iron, but you want to be very light and take your time and blend. So here you can see that it's quite similar. We want them to be sisters, not twins. If they can be twins, that's great. We don't want them to be friends. So I go in with this eyeshadow. It's like a creamy white. The thing with white eyeshadow is because you mix it with the concealer, it won't be extra white. It'll look a bit, creamy. So I just went for this one. I didn't want it to be too white because you don't want to be looking like a ghost. So you want to tap lightly, and then I get an angled eyeshadow brush. This is why it's so important. Sorry, I hate smacking. This is why it's so important to get the right brushes. I go in with an angled eyeshadow brush and a black. This look was very risky. I saw someone do it, I'm not going to mention their name, on Instagram, and on a bride actually, and I thought, this is my look. Anyway, so you want to use the angled brush, and you want to place your product first, and then as you can see, you want to buff it out with that same brush. You want to take your time with black, especially if you are doing a smoky eye with black. I mean, you can do a smoky eye with different colors, but if you are doing a smoky eye with black, you want to be careful with black, because black can make you look scary. But it takes practice, it takes time. So you can see I'm going into the crease with that same black. You don't need a lot of product. I'm going to say this again. You don't need a lot of product, because if you use a lot of product, it will look scary. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going in with that same brush again. And now I'm taking my brown brush and blending everything in. This is the brush that I use for the base, the brown base. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, liner. I love a felt tip liner because it makes my work easier. I didn't do a elongated eyeliner because I thought with black, you don't want to look scary. I didn't want to give off that look, like gothic look. I just wanted a classy evening look. So I just kind of made a short, like you can see, a short end eyeliner. And the black kind of gives it off that it's extended, but it's actually not. So that was the whole vibe of this eye look. Again, I love a felt tip liner. Makes my life easier. This is the MUA one, I believe. It's for £3. I love them because they do dry out quite quick, so you have to be quick. Now, moving on to skin prep. So before I said I had prep, I just used moisturizer. Now I'm going in with my e.l.f. primer and some setting spray. And then I'm going to start putting foundation. Now I have a lot of dark spots on my face, so I go in with a tiny bit of foundation first, a darker shade, just to cover the spots. And then I'm going in with my NARS Luminous foundation. I think this is a Luminous or Radiant, I can't remember. This is in the shade, I can't remember, it'll be in the description. And then I take a powder brush. I love a powder brush for foundation because I personally feel like it blends seamlessly. Now, not a too big powder brush, but just a regular powder brush. So I blend those two foundation shades together and look at that blend. Like, that skin match is incredible. Remember your ears as well. I don't put foundation on my forehead to start with, but whatever residue is left on my brush, it goes onto my forehead and other areas that I don't necessarily put, like my neck. I don't put heavy makeup on my neck in case I'm wearing something like white or cowl neck top. And then I go in with concealer. This is the same maple that I'm using. Now, you have to understand your face shape. Makeup takes practice. You need to understand the shape of your face in order to sculpt your face. Now, if you have a different face to mine, you sculpt your face differently. Some people like less concealer. Because this was a full look, I went in for more. Now I'm going to sculpt and contour. I'm using the Made by Mitchell palette, and I mix two of the darker tones. And then I'm just going in with this Esso brush that I got from Boots. I absolutely love this brush for placement. I just use it for placement. I'm doing my cheekbones, my jawline, and then a bit of my forehead as well. I don't necessarily do my forehead much. And then whilst the concealer is sitting, I start to just blend this one out a little bit with a flat brush or a kabuki brush from Real Techniques. It is Real Techniques. It's just really old. really old. So yeah, I just blend that out, and then I take a blended, this is actually a highlighter brush, but I love it for blending. I use it it's from Real Techniques. It is from Real Techniques. It's just really old. Again, good brushes, I've had them for years. So yeah, I just blend that out. I like to start from the outwards, if you caught onto that. So you see when I do the next under eye, that I like to start outwards and then take it in, just so I'm not blending inwards out, if that makes sense. My forehead, I don't overdo it because I find it really hard to blend my forehead, and I already have a big forehead. So as you can see, I'm doing the outward bit first, and then I come inside. Now when I come in, I don't necessarily overblend because I like to have that volume under my eye, if that makes sense. It's like the start of the show in makeup. Well, for me, sometimes. So yeah, I like to just kind of take my time to blend. Blending takes time. Again, makeup is practice. It will take you time. I started doing makeup properly in lockdown in 2020. So this is pretty much 6 years of learning, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Every day I'm still learning. So you want to take the same foundation brush that you used, and you want to blend out the harsh lines. As you can see, it looks much better already. Now don't put it everywhere. And then you take the same concealer brush or highlighting brush that you use, and we want to go in and blend. Makeup is like creating a gradient on your face. If you understand art and color theory, you will know how to do makeup. I'm going to say that again. If you understand art and color theory, you will know how to do makeup. Obviously, with practice, with the right equipment, with the right techniques, and a very light hand. Now I'm blending the bridge of my nose. My nose is quite skinny naturally, so I don't really do too much to my nose. It just does what it do. So now I'm going in. I set before I bake, quote unquote. I don't necessarily bake. So I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me matte powder. I love this powder. I believe it's in the shade 350 or 365. No, 350. Yes. And then I'm going in with a flat triangle thingy. And I'm just kind of going in and out, and I am just dabbing onto the areas that I highlighted. So you want to, the thing with makeup is you want to stay in constraints of where you place the product. You won't go and put this powder where you contoured because it won't make sense. Now this is where I contour with powder. So for every cream product, you want to set it with a powder product. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using the Makeup Revolution bronzer in Deep, I believe. And I love this bronzer. I'm never gonna let it go. I'm never gonna let it go. It's what works for me. I use this in addition with other ones, but this works for me. I use this on my clients. It works perfectly. So I go over like my temple, my cheekbone, my jawline. It just gives that snatched definition, maybe somewhere near my neck. Now, this is where I quote unquote bake. I'm using the Huda Beauty. I'm a fan of Huda Beauty, if you can tell, and Too Faced. I'm using the Huda Beauty setting powder. I haven't cancelled her, sorry. And this is a mix of kunafa and cinnamon bun, I believe, just to give it that bronzy golden look. I don't like an ashy under eye. I'm not a bright under eye babe. I'm so sorry. I don't think I'll ever get onto that trend. It looks ashy. I'm so sorry. But if you do it well, it can look good. I just don't like it. Now, this is how I do my smile lines. I smile, put some setting powder on there, and then I tap it away, or I tap into the lines. So that is pretty much how I set my face. I don't necessarily bake, even on the Huda Beauty. I know some people like to bake. It's not my preference. Yeah, I just don't like it. I'm so sorry. One thing to remember when you're setting or baking, I'd say baking, quote unquote. Let me say baking because we've already set. I would say to make sure you're tapping off or blowing off any excess. And then I come back with any leftover product on my brush, my contour brush. And then I just go into intricate areas just to define my face again. And then I start to blend. I know we've already kind of blended, but we're blending again. Now I use the NYX matte bronzer, and I blend everything together. This is the trick to having a flawless finish. I cannot make like this any clearer. Use a face powder that's not too dark, that's not too light, but that's like a bronzer shade, but not a bronzer to the point where you're bronzing your face. I don't know if that makes sense. This bronzer is not a bronzer to me. It's a face powder. That's what I put in my bag when I go out. So that's what I'm using to kind of blend out any harsh lines that I didn't do when I was blending. I made a little booby here, so I had to redo my nose highlight, but that's fine. Snatch nose for me, I guess. So yeah, I just kind of went in and corrected that. With makeup, you can always correct. You don't need to wipe the whole makeup away. So again, I'm just blending with my NYX bronzer. I take my time with this because this is what pulls the look together. Now, this is the Mocha in Fenty Beauty. I love this bronzer. I just add a little bit just to give that snatch look. You know, I love a snatched look. I love a bronzed look. It can go left, so you need to be very careful, very light-handed, and don't use too much. And then I go over again with, well, over my under eye again, and my blending brush with the Maybelline powder that we use to set. Again, all the products will be in the details. I just go over areas that I feel look a bit greasy or a bit, you know, unsettled. You understand your face. The more you do your makeup, you understand your face, or the more you do someone else's makeup, you understand their face more as well. So I go over areas that need touch up. So this is kind of like my final blending phase, if I may say, in a sense. And then I start to do my nose. I don't contour my nose a lot because, again, I already have quite a skinny nose. So I take an angled brush and then I go in with a bronzer, maybe the Mocha, or I use different ones to just go down the bridge of my nose. And this is a trick that I currently am using. I go into my face with my cinnamon bun, which is my cinnamon bun English setting powder from Huda Beauty, and I tap the areas which look a bit oily, and that gives a set. I'm just setting my whole face basically with that powder because it's a darker shade. And then I go in with this blush. Blush puts everything together. Look at this. Now when you place your blush, make sure you're blending it, please. I use the same brush that I used to blend my whole face. I use that to blend the blush English, and you want to blend upwards like so. So yeah, that is it. This is me using my hydrating mist. Make sure you cover your eyeshadow just so it doesn't crease it, and then you want to dry this off. After that, you use your setting or fixing spray. I didn't show that. Unfortunately, my loves, I didn't really show full details of my lip combo. I know I was rushing to go to dinner, but I used a black lip liner, and I also used e.l.f. Plumping Lip Gloss. I will put the product below. It's really nothing crazy. It's just an e.l.f. Plumping Lip Gloss, this lip liner, and normal clear gloss from the hair shop. Like, that's pretty much it, or any clear gloss that you have. When you're lining your lips in the corners, you want to open your mouth just to get the intricate areas and make it look good. So this is me. This is the finished look so far. Also, what I like to do with my lip liner is I'll take a small brush just to blend out and make it less sharper. I didn't show it, but I'll take a very small brush, or you can even use your hand to kind of smudge it and to make it look less like linery. So yeah, this is the final look. Obviously, I had to go and do my hair, straighten my hair, style my hair, but this was the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed the look. I hope you took some notes, and honestly, I think I'll be doing more of these, so stay tuned. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.